Charles Leclerc takes pole position after a few down races, along with some interesting results in the midfield battle during qualifying today. I'm Nick, joined by Ryan as usual, and welcome to the Lights Out podcast. So let's get into the big news right away. Charles Leclerc takes pole position by about a tenth and a half. Sainz looked really strong. They had more straight line speed than Red Bull. Granted, it's only qualifying, but is this a potential Ferrari maybe a little bit back?
It's hard to say. I think the reason why Ferrari was a little faster is because, as Red Bull's been saying all weekend, is they're kind of more set up for the race, and their wing setup this weekend, they're using a lot more downforce. So over one lap, they might not be as quick as Ferrari is, but in the long run tomorrow for the race, it looks like, they've been saying that they look like they're, pretty on track for a good race and probably a good result. So you couple that along with how good Max has been driving and, just how fast that car is, and then also Checo been kind of struggling, but put any driver in a fast car like that, and I think you'll get a good result. So I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon on it. It's kind of been the story all year for Ferrari, so kind of hard to say if they're going to win or get a 1-2 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely, it's another race where they definitely should and could and would and have the possibility of winning it. But yeah, I don't know. It was a good qualifying, really good lap though. They did show pace that I didn't think I was going to see. I don't think a lot of us thought we were going to see, but I don't know. It's hard to say. So that's just me being kind of pessimistic, though.
Yeah, you have to be cautious with this. You never know. I mean, obviously, it's a big congratulations to Ferrari 75th anniversary. You take a pole position, home race, it's shaping up to be the perfect weekend for him, isn't it? But
yeah, just like 8 other weekends.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I noticed the Ferrari actually had a much smaller rear wing than the Red Bull, I believe. Yeah. So that's going to be very interesting to see how they run with that during the race. Like you said, are they going to be able to just cruise away with it, or are they going to have maybe some scrubbing issues with tires or whatnot? I don't know. We'll have to see how the tire is.
Yeah, and I think I saw they replaced their floor too with one that they were using earlier in the season. I'm pretty sure. Yep. So yeah, I don't know.
I think for that lower downforce floor or whatever. Yeah. And Sainz and Leclerc both showed good plays. So the Ferrari, I think overall, everyone kind of expected Red Bull to fly away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
it kind of looked like that for a while actually. Even though, yeah, I mean, Max was up like 0.3, I think, right away in Q1. It was kind of crazy, and I think, but yeah, I don't know. Ferrari pulled some magic out of their hats again, but they've been doing that all year, I think, really. So it's hard to say. It's hard to just sit here and definitively be like, oh yeah, it's over. But I don't know.
It's good to see the battle back, though. It's always more fun to watch the race there. Perez was, what was he, 0.8 off Sainz in third, so he was really lacking pace. Mm-hmm. Mercedes was quite slow here. They were, compared to Leclerc, they were 1.4 seconds back. Yep. So I think Mercedes is kind of in their own realm of things. Actually, now that I'm looking at the times, Lando Norris was only 0.04 off of George Russell.
Yep.
And I'll give hats off to Danny Ricciardo. Granted, he was almost 0.4 off Norris in Q3, but he made Q3 paced very well compared to Norris here. But I think, wow, I was not expecting McLaren to be any good here.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're kind of, I think Lando Norris is starting P3, Ricciardo's P4. Really surprising to see that, but also all the penalties kind of put a factor into that too. But yeah, they definitely had a lot more pace than I thought they would have here too. I thought they were going to have a slow car. Even Lando kind of was saying it, that he didn't expect to have much speed here all weekend, and just looking for kind of like another Spa result, kind of back into the grid, fighting the end of the midfield. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know, they found something over the weekend, so, and especially during qualifying, so, yeah, we'll see how it ends up during the race.
Alpine, who I thought they've been having good straight line speed in past races.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of picked that Alpine get the edge again, because it's similar, more similar to Spa than other tracks. And Alpine, I mean, Alonso didn't run in Q3. I'm not exactly sure what that was about, if that was an engine issue. And then Ocon Ocon, he was out P11.
Yeah.
Granted, he has a grid penalty, so that's really
Mhm.
harsh on him. He's going to be starting way at the back. Bottas has a 15 place grid penalty. He was only 12. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I would say there's definitely been some surprise with Ferrari, some surprise with McLaren, Alpine. Gasly did a good job getting up into top 10, P9.
Yeah, it was nice to see Gasly up there. Yeah, I think he would have been like P8 even too. I think he was like P8 maybe, P7. But yeah, his lap time deleted, so that kind of sucks. But yeah,
but
nice
he'll move up a little bit because
Yeah.
Hamilton will go to the back, Sainz will go to the back, and Perez will go behind him.
Mhm.
So I think he'll probably be on the third or fourth row. So he's looking like he has a good shot at some points again.
Mhm.
Speaking of points and grid penalties, we have Nick De Vries in his very first Formula One race, filling in for Alex Albon. Got appendicitis just earlier, I believe last night or today, this morning.
Yep.
Sad to see. I think Albon would have been in for a haul of points. Of points here. But De Vries outqualifies Latifi, puts it 13th. I mean, he was struggling with Sector 1. He was having a lot of rear locking. I was listening in on his onboard. But he's going to be starting, 8th in his debut?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good to see him. I think if anyone were to replace Latifi, honestly, I feel like if you're in the garage right now or like Joe,
in your heads.
Like it's definitely turning your heads, and you're probably thinking like maybe he is a better option than Latifi. I'm not going to go into that too much though. But I think after the day, how could you not be thinking that? But yeah, as an individual racing performance for first Grand Prix, first like qualifying sessions, that was really good. So
well, lucky for
not
him,
much else to say. It was just really good. Yeah.
He did do some running in Aston Martin, so at least he kind of got a little acclimated to the track. Granted, the Williams and Aston are going to drive very differently, but that Williams has some straight line speed. I mean, they were showing, I think it was Latifi and De Vries were two of the fastest drivers down that main straight. Yeah. So maybe we could see him retain some positions just based off speed alone.
Yeah.
Could be interesting for him going forward.
And speaking of Latifi quick too, I think it's kind of, again, he's out I think he made it through Q1 this time. I think he's out in Q2 today.
P16.
P16. Okay, yeah. I think he could have gotten a Q1. But for turn 1 there, he locked up, so he didn't even get a final lap. So kind of threw it off. But it's just another Latifi qualifying session. So, but today I'll give him a break. I think if he not locked up, I think that car was fast enough today because I think he was even faster than De Vries on their first couple laps of qualifying. He was a little bit faster, so the pace in the car is there for him too. We'll just see if he can do something.
Well, he'll start 11th. I think the big thing that people are just kind of scratching their heads on is, look, De Vries has done 2 practice sessions in this car this entire season, and now he's already. I mean, granted, Monza's Monza. If you can get a setup down, it's really picking your braking points, throttle on. It's not a super technical, complicated circuit. Obviously, I'm not saying it's an easy circuit by any chance, but it's definitely one of the easier ones on the calendar.
Yeah.
And it suits the Williams car. So if De Vries was able to find his braking points, he liked the downforce for the turns. I mean, maybe this was one that is easier for someone to step in because De Vries is not a bad driver. Obviously, he's a good driver. So it's not like it's a nobody that's stepping into the car and beating Latifi. And Latifi struggled this whole year. So it'll be... I'm curious to see where De Vries can end up in comparison with Latifi. See the Williams pace. I got to think they got to score at least 1 point, right? All these grid penalties. Yeah,
I think they'll be on track to score at least 1 car in P10 or something like that, or close at least. I would be shocked if they didn't have anyone. I'd pick Nick, obviously, to be the guy to score it this weekend, but we'll see. Anything can happen, I guess.
And Aston Martin and Haas, they both look poor. Magnussen had lap time deleted. They compromised Schumacher to get him the tow, and he had a good lap. He would have made it through, but he just ended up track limits. I don't remember exactly what turn it was, but track limits are track limits.
He did that 2 times, too. So, I don't know. Kevin Magnussen has been kind of bottling it this last couple of races. Haas in general has been kind of going down to regular Haas again. Mick, again, didn't have a good qualifying session. He also didn't get FP1 because Giovinazzi filled in for him this weekend. So he didn't get that. And then FP2, his engine blew up. Surprise, surprise.
FP3, they were late to get him out too.
Yeah, so I don't know. He just has had a really bad weekend qualifying. Okay, maybe you can put something together. Nope. Out again. So I don't know. Haas is just kind of tumbling down.
Schumacher did 8 laps in FP3.
Yeah.
And then
just
let me
terrible
pull up
right
FP2. Now. FP2, he did 9 laps. So he only did 17 laps coming into qualifying.
Yeah. And then I think I heard something too before we started here. Like if Kevin Mason didn't have those first 5 races of the year, and if he hadn't signed that multi-year contract extension before the year even started, would you even think you'd probably consider getting rid of him too right now, because he hasn't been that great since the first 5 races. He's just been kind of mistake after mistake after mistake, and a lot of it's also been power issue units and just Ferrari powertrain reliability issues. But it's just I feel like it's every week now. The Haas is just they haven't improved. They've been going downhill. I'd say that they haven't improved over the season. They've been going spiraling downwards. Honestly, I think so.
Yep. Well, Magnussen had that P5 in the first race, and that's going to obviously inflate his points.
Yeah.
Mick's gotten a couple points now. In my opinion, I think Mick's been a better driver this last third that we've had so far.
Yeah.
I think some of it's just been poor strategy from Haas on both cars, bad reliability. Speaking of Haas, I won't go into this too much. I mentioned it yesterday in the preview podcast, but apparently Nico Hülkenberg is one of the drivers that are in the front runner for that Haas seat to replace Schumacher. Which, again, I'm not going to go too far into this because we're talking qualifying here, but I found that to be quite funny because Hülkenberg and K-Mag were butting heads crazy.
They don't like each other at all. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see that.
So,
those two guys.
It'd be interesting, but we'll see if that happens.
It's hard to tell who they're going to get. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It feels like, and then. Just to hit on it quick too is Pierre Gasly might not even go to Alpine anymore because Colton Herta, that whole thing is dragging out and they don't really know. I think Marco wanted a decision by this weekend, and this weekend's here, and this weekend, by tomorrow the weekend's gonna come and go. So I don't know. We'll see. So that's in jeopardy now, but
and they have a week off after this weekend.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
Well, and it's interesting. Gasly now he snuck up. He out-qualified the Alpines. I mean, granted, I think the Alpine's still a better race pace. It's just something happened there. But Gasly showing once again he can drive. He's a very strong driver, and he deserves a seat. Ricciardo, he needs to stay in the points.
McLaren, I think Ricciardo needs to stay in the points for the next 4 or 5 races.
McLaren need double points here. Year. I think Singapore is going to fit McLaren better, just because Alpine's had more high-speed power. But again, who knows? Because Monza just threw everything up in the air and said, "Oh, you think you know what's going on? Nope."
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens in the race. Again, I think it's going to be a thrilling race. We're going to see Verstappen hunting down Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, all working their way through the field. The midfield is all shook up. I mean, the Alpine should be able to catch up and fight the McLarens, but again, who knows? It's going to be
interesting. Yeah, it'll be a good race, I think.
And hopefully there's no crazy collisions like we had last year. Everything stays calm and safe.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much everything from qualifying. So let's get into race predictions. What are your thoughts on how this race is going to roll out tomorrow?
So I'm going to go with a Max Verstappen win again. I think Charles gets P2, and then as far as P3 goes, I would love to say Carlos Sainz, but I'm going to go with George Russell in P3. I think he starts in P2, but I think he holds on to finish P3. So, Max, Charles, and George.
Yeah, I mean, for the podium, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm going to swap Verstappen and Leclerc. I think if that Ferrari can hold up to the pace that it showed today in qualifying, I think Leclerc is going to have enough pace to pull away at the start. He's going to have unless Russell can jump him. If Russell can jump him, then maybe it'll help. Then maybe Max will be brought right into play early on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a battle during the pit windows, and it's going to come down to the second half of that race. I think Max isn't starting. What is he starting fourth?
Sixth, and he got second. Yeah, somewhere around there. Fourth, fifth.
The whole grid penalties with the back of grid penalties, it's all a mess. Because I believe like back of grid penalties count as a place back for Max, but I'm not exactly sure on how the FIA does that.
It's all goofy.
Max could be starting. He'll be starting in the top 10. That's for sure, though. The worst he'd be starting would be 7th, I believe. So 7th would be the worst he starts. I think he's going to carve through most of that early field. It'll take him some time to get around Russell. So that could help Leclerc. If Leclerc can pull away and Ferrari doesn't forget a tire or put him on the wrong tires or pull him in for 5 pit stops, I think Leclerc can win this race.
Oh yeah, I think he can too. I mean I hope he does, but just going how the season's going, I'm just kind of at the point where I'm not really a glass half full guy anymore. I'm more of the glass is kind of empty and it's like draining quickly guy. I don't know. I'd love to see him win it, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. I have no faith. Don't want to say I have no faith in Ferrari, but kind of like how the season's going, it's just kind of hard to pick him. So.
Well, and
if he wins, Ferrari, I'll happily be proven wrong. Like I'll happily be wrong. But
back on the topic of grid penalties, I think Sainz could come up and nip Perez.
Yeah, I
think Sainz are showing some very serious pace today.
I would say Carlos would have a chance to win the race too if he didn't have the penalties. Honestly, I think I would predict a Ferrari 1-2 if Sainz didn't have a penalty and Max still did. I would be predicting a Charles 1 or Carlos 1-2 either way, like flip flop. I don't care, but I would predict that then for sure because I think Sainz or Charles could maybe fend off a Red Bull for a little bit, or maybe they get a 1-3 or 2-3, something like that. But yeah, since he has a penalty too, I don't know if he'll get in the podium, but hopefully he does. I don't know. We'll see.
If Ferrari can get a win, or if Sainz can come up and they get a double podium, it will be a huge morale boost for Ferrari going into the last section of the season. We've got 7 tracks, including this one left. So it's, if we look at the schedule ahead, Singapore, Japan, not a ton of overtaking, very twisty, turny circuits. And then we get back into USA, Mexico, Brazil. Those are all Abu Dhabi. Those are all like straight line speed's going to come in very handy there. So if Ferrari has found something, if they've kind of refound their speed, whether maybe they've just got the setup right, maybe they brought something, the floor is making that big difference. Either way, if Ferrari has it, they could be in contention for some of these last races. I still think Max and Red Bull are kind of clear, but it'll solidify their P2.
I agree. I think unless Max DNFs, I think he can DNF 4 races in a row and he'll still be winning. So unless he DNFs, there's 7 races left. He has to DNF 5 races. It's over. But
he's got a 109-point lead.
Yeah,
but that will be an interesting end of the season if that were to happen. I think everybody would be scratching their heads.
Yeah, it'd be one of the biggest meltdowns ever. I think everyone would forget about Ferrari this year.
Yes.
So.
Well, I don't know. Ferrari's been doing some crazy shit this year. But that's besides the point. There's predictions for the race. Either way, I think it's going to be interesting. We both have Ferrari and Red Bull. I think we can both agree that there's going to be a good battle at the front.
Yep.
So that is all we have time for today. Thank you guys for listening in, and enjoy the race tomorrow, and we'll see you then.